For me, I saw the mainstream media totally falling down on the job. They were only telling one side of the story, and we get that criticism too, that we're only telling the right side of the story, the conservative side of the story, and that's true, but someone's got to. I just felt like the mainstream media was getting it wrong or missing the point on so much, or they were only hearing from one set of voices. When there's a whole other set of voices in this country, this is a completely different life. And I don't live that far outside of the city, about 45 minutes, but it's completely different. I felt like the mainstream media in their bubble in downtown Edmonton or downtown Calgary or downtown Ottawa weren't hearing from people like me. They weren't even talking to people like me, let alone talking about the issues that mattered to us. At the end of the day, this is why it matters how your politicians feel about civil liberties, because civil liberties, they're most important not during good times, not when there are no restrictions. They are to be protected in the event of an emergency, a pandemic, a war. That's when you need politicians who will not falter on their commitment to civil liberties. I think there were a lot of breakdowns of people who once told us they were civil libertarians. They weren't so much when they were tested. You know, I'm holding politicians to account. I'm managing a whole team of journalists and fighting for civil liberties and doing all those sorts of things and court reporting and running these major campaigns sometimes against sitting politicians. I still think it's really important to have really strong domestic skills. I firmly believe in the gender roles. While I'm doing all these things that are sort of, like I said, in a man's world, I pickle, I can, I sew, I crochet, I make every lunch that the kids eat, I cook supper every single day. I think that's really important. That's my first and most important job, is to take care of my house and my family. Ralph Klein once said, let the Eastern bastards freeze in the dark. You know, so sometimes that might be one way of teaching everybody the value of Alberta's contributions when those contributions are no longer there. I think Alberta needs politicians, both provincially and federally, who are not afraid to challenge the status quo and to allow Alberta to flex our muscles in the same way that Quebec flexes their muscles within Confederation. Quebec has no problem saying no to Canada. Alberta, we don't really say no. We talk a lot about the inequity of the equalization program, but what do we ever do about it? I think my message is that we should all strive to be first ditch fighters. You fight in the first ditch instead of the last, because by the time you're fighting the last ditch on all these issues, cultural issues, oil and gas issues, fiscal issues, civil liberties issues, by the time you're in the last ditch, the battle's over. And I think for a lot of issues, the other side has been fighting them for 10 years or 15 years, and we're just showing up now, wondering why we're losing. For me, I think it's get involved in the fight, whatever the fight is, civil liberties, oil and gas, the fight for truth, because truth matters. Get involved early instead of getting involved when the battle is already won.